The sauce that nobody knows how to pronounce, Worcestershire. And that is the topic of this cookbook right here. This is put out by Lea Perrins, and they really narrowed down the topic here. Appetizer, soup, main dish, vegetable, and salad cookbook. Longest title ever. But today we are going to be cooking Philippine pork and chicken stew, and we'll see how that is. We're going to start this thing by heating up some oil in a large pan or a skillet. And then we are going to brown some chicken. It calls for a chicken that is cut into eighths, but the pork later on, when we add that, it asks for it to be cut into 1-inch pieces. So I actually went ahead and did the chicken in a similar manner and cut those into 1-inch pieces as well. We're going to let our chicken brown on all sides for about 10 minutes at this point. After the chicken has been on there for about 10 minutes, we're going to remove that and then actually replace that with the pork. As we put the pork in, it's interesting to note that it called for 10 minutes of cook time on the chicken, but only 5 on the pork. But that's what the directions say, so that's what we're going to do. After your pork is browned, we're going to add some onions and garlic, and then cook that in the same pan that we just did the meats in. It's interesting to me that the onions go in after the meat. Usually when you're cooking things, the onions go in fairly early in the recipe. I wonder if it's because we have all those brown juices from the meats in the bottom, so those onions are going to soak up that juice. I wonder if that's why this is towards the end instead of at the beginning. Now, in just a second, I'm going to take both the chicken and the pork that we had browned earlier and put it back in the pan with the onions and garlic. But first, I need to take a cup of boiling water, and we're going to add a beef bouillon cube to this, which I found an interesting choice considering we have chicken and pork, and yet it's a beef bouillon cube instead of a chicken bouillon cube, but that's what it calls for. With our meats now in the pan, we are going to add that bouillon water that we just created. And we're also going to add celery. It's 2 cups of celery there. And some salt. Now, if you're wondering about amounts and everything for what's going into this recipe, at the very end of this video, I'm going to put a copy of the recipe there so you can see and get all the measurements and everything so you can make this yourself. Once we've reached a boiling point here, we're going to cover this and simmer it for about 45 minutes. We're almost ready to assemble this thing, but first we need to create a slurry of cornstarch. So I've got cornstarch, I have some water, and then it also says to take some of the hot broth from our skillet over there and add that in as well. So we're going to mix that together, create our slurry, and then add it to our main pot over there. Into the pot our slurry goes, and then we're going to mix that in until this starts to thicken up a little bit. During the simmering process, it seems like a lot of the liquid actually cooked off. I did add a little bit extra water just to make it a little bit juicier. And to this, we're going to add 3 things. We have a ½ cup of salted peanuts that are going in. We have some evaporated milk, which is going in. And that's going to add a little bit of liquid as well. And then finally, because this is Lea Perrins' cookbook, we have some Worcestershire sauce that we're going to add into there. Finally, to serve this up, we are going to put it over some rice and then eat it. I've got to say, I'm pretty excited to try this one. It smells very interesting. Those peanuts, as soon as I added them, gave off a really fragrant smell. And I don't want to say it smells like peanut butter because it doesn't, but there's hints of that kind of smell. And then, of course, we've got a lot of celery in there, so if you're not a celery person, this probably isn't the recipe for you. But I'm going to get some meat on here and a little bit of everything, and we'll taste this. You know, it's not half bad. There's some very interesting flavors going on here. subtle flavors. I wouldn't say there's a strong flavor of anything, but the meat is very tender. The sauce that is in this has, again, a very mild flavor, but it's very complementary, I think, to everything. And then, of course, you've got the peanuts and the celery. Honestly, I don't mind this. For being mid-1970s, kind of a one-pot meal, even though you do it in phases. I'd recommend this one. It's pretty easy, and once you get it going, you can kind of go do something else while it simmers. Give it a try and let me know what you think. We'll see you next time.